Hello everyone, Peter Smith here. It's Saturday the 6th of April 2019. I'm in 1 hour and a half or so I'll be heading off to the airport to get my flight back to Scotland. And I was looking up when the next meeting is I'm going to in May, and on the front page of the UN website there was a story about Ashley Judd. Now she spoke at the Commission on Population Development I was just at, and I'd just like to read you this little press release the UN put out and just say a few words about it. Ashley Judd. Acclaimed actor and writer Ashley Judd has been a UN Population Fund Goodwill Ambassador since 2016. She spoke at the opening session of the annual Commission on Population and Development. I was there and heard her, describing the ICPD as a paradigm shift that placed the future of the world's development firmly in the hands of women and girls, and demanded that we have the right to make decisions over our own bodies and to have our bodily integrity and our sexual autonomy. Ms. Judd, who is strongly committed to social justice, believes that the sexual and reproductive health of girls and women is at the heart of poverty eradication and sustainable development. Now, let's just go through a little bit of that and unpack it a little bit to see what this is all about. Now, this Ashley Judd, never heard of her before, but there you go, I haven't heard of a lot of these film stars. I'm not that impressed with a lot of these film stars. Oh, and by the way, she mentioned that she'd been to Sudan and the UNFPA had flown in a doctor and they did a obstetric fistula operation on a woman. It's probably the first they'd ever done. They normally don't do those sort of things because women with fistula, it's an awful situation you get with obstructive labour, where part of a woman's flesh dies and she leaks urine and faeces. It's horrendous. It's just awful. You know, they for years and years and years ignored this problem. But anyway, they've done at least one operation. So she spoke at the opening session of Population Development. Then she talks about the International Conference on Population Development. That's the Cairo Conference in 1994. Was a paradigm shift that placed the future of the world's development firmly in the hands of women and girls. So there you have it. Women and girls of the world are going to ensure the development of the world. I say, hello, where are the men? They tend to forget about the men. In fact, the only reference there was to men was a very negative comment about the patriarchy by some British journalistic jerk who was chairing one of the panels, and saying how, oh, in the bad old days of 1984 in the Mexico Population Conference, it was all about population control and patriarchy. But at the ICPD in 1994, it was the feminists that got the upper hand. And that's true. The feminists did get the upper hand. The radical feminists of the world, led by Bella Abzal, got the upper hand. And it's the women and girls going to do everything now. The men, we just sit back and take it easy now. We don't have to do another industrial revolution. Already done that. Men have already done that. 3 industrial revolutions in Britain. The invention of factories, the invention of the steel works, and the agricultural revolution, all done by men with the help of their wives, done by men. This phone I'm reading from, no one like it, Steve Jobs. He was the man who was the brains behind that. And very fortunate to be here because his mother was unmarried when he was conceived and she could have aborted him away. Now, what else does this Ashley Judd go on about? So the development's firmly in the hands of women and girls, and demand that they have the right to make decision over their own bodies and to have bodily integrity and have sexual autonomy. Well, sexual autonomy, have sex with whoever you like, wherever you like, whenever you like. That's it. And Miss Judd, who is strongly committed to social justice, social justice warrior, believes that sexual and reproductive health of girls and women is at the heart of poverty eradication and sustainable development. So that's the key. That's the key. These social justice warriors think that if they can just put the men down and the women and girls get to make all the decisions, and that sexual and reproductive health, that's, aborting away your children and contracepting them away, is at the heart of poverty eradication. That is absolute nonsense. I'll give you one example in my own family. Just one example. My grandfather was one of 13 children born in Australia. One of 13. And he only had primary school and I think 1 year of high school education. Now, and he had two wives, one died. I knew his second wife, my Grandma Smith, amazing lady. And they had 6 kids. He's meant to be poor. The sexual and reproductive health, they didn't even know what those words back then. And what happened with my grandfather? Well, he left my dad and 2 uncles a 4,500 acre property when he died. It was very nice. They didn't have any of this sexual autonomy and bodily autonomy and the right to make decisions over our body, jazz sort of stuff. None of that sort of rubbish. Men and women got along together. There was cooperation, complementarity. And this is the sort of nonsense that goes on at the UN. The denigration of men and the putting down of men. And I would like to say to some of these women, like this Ashley Judd bird, I'd like to say, well, how did you get to where you are today? Did you fly here on an aeroplane from Hollywood? Probably one of those ones invented and produced by Mr. Boeing. Mr. Boeing. Okay? Or did you get the train? The trains invented by Stephenson in England nearly 200 years ago. And I could go on and on and on about all the things men have invented in the modern world. And yes, they had help from their wives. Yes, they were supported by their wives. But now, according to Ashley Judd, it's just going to be the women and the girls are going to do everything. So I feel like saying, well, good on you. Away you go. See how you get along if you're just going to do it by yourselves. And I think it's not going to work that good, because that's not how the world works. But anyway, I just wanted to share this little rant with you about how the UN goes with their social justice warriors and their radical feminists and their putting down of the oppressive patriarchy and the toxic masculinity and all that jazz, And I think it's really sad to see how pathetic all this is. And it's just wonderful that most people just ignore the UN. People in America just ignore it. And most people in the world just ignore it, because those sorts of things, abortion on demand and contracepting away most of your kids, is not going to lead to any development or any progress. It's just going to lead to the extinction of those people that push that sort of agenda. So thank you very much. I'm about to fly back to Bonnie, Scotland. It's been away 4 weeks. All my family have probably forgotten who I am. So anyway, my wife's coming to pick me up tomorrow morning after my all-night flight back across the Atlantic, and I'll have a bit of jet lag the next few days. So you won't have to hear any of my rants for a day or two because I'll be recovering. Not sure what I'll be doing next week yet, apart from covering from jet lag. But thank you for watching, and if you pray for me, thank you for praying for me. I need a bit of prayer support. We had a good result at the Commission on Population and Development this week. No bad language, just a one-page political declaration. It was a great result. So I had a good week the last week. In the Commission on CSW, Commission on, what is it? Commission on the Status of Women. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I'm just not holding my breath to see when we get a commission on the status of men. Oh, I don't think we'll be one of them anytime soon, with the toxic masculinity and the oppressive patriarchy. So, from the oppressive patriarchy and the toxic masculinity, I just say, God bless you and see you again soon. Bye.